Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Monterey Peninsula. My name is Fred Hamilton, and I'm currently serving as a member of the church's Board of Trustees. We are a congregation of people of different ages, races, classes, religious and sexual orientations, gender identities, and political views. Our purpose is to change our own lives, even as we work to change the world around us through love, learning, and service to others. You should have received a link to our order of service in Friday's email. You can also always find a link to Sunday services on our church website, where you can also view over a year of our past services. Please contact the office by email or phone if you would like to receive our weekly news email, which has more information about how you can stay involved in church life. And if you are a visitor with us today, please fill out our virtual visitor card. You can find the link in the Zoom chat box or on the church's website. Our worship theme for this month is Grace. Today's service is entitled Walking the Soul Back Home and is led by Ken Peterson, Brian Jacobson, and worship associate Ray Kreis. And it's here. Hope Springs Eternal, our 2021 virtual services auction, kicks off today at noon following the worship service. You should have received a link to the auction items catalog in your email or by snail mail. Today, I will explain the bidding process, and then bidding will begin on the silent auction items and go on all week. The grand finale, including a live auction, talent show, and more, starts at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, May 1st, over Zoom. Don't miss it. I hope to see you all here in about 90 minutes for the kickoff. Mark your calendars and plan to attend our virtual annual congregational meeting next Sunday, May 2nd, following the worship service. Members will be voting on the election of new board members, the annual budget, and on adopting the UU 8th principle. Please plan to attend. Our shared offering recipient for April is the Unitarian Universalist Ministry for Earth. Its mission is to be a wellspring of spiritual and educational grounding and practical support for bold, accountable action for environmental justice, climate justice, and the flourishing of all life. Half of the cash of our offering this month and checks made out to UUCMP with UU Ministry for Earth in the memo line will support this group. Please donate generously to this worthy group. And now, please enjoy this morning's prelude.
Our call to worship today is by Richard Gilbert. It's entitled, We Bid You Welcome. We bid you welcome who come with weary spirit seeking rest, who come with troubles that are too much with you, who come hurt and afraid. We bid you welcome who come with hope in your heart, who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud, joyous. We bid you welcome who are seekers of a new faith, who come to probe and explore, who come to learn. We bid you welcome who join us as a homecoming, who have found here room with your spirit, who find in this people a family. Whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. Let us worship together.
peaceful, easy feeling.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. I've had a peaceful, easy feeling. I know your love won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing on solid ground. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. I've had a peaceful, easy feeling. I know your love won't let me down, 'cause I'm already standing. Yes, I am already standing. Yes, I am already standing on solid ground.
With Unitarian Universalists throughout the world, we light our chalice, the symbol of our covenanted aspirations of love, hope, and justice. I'll begin with the words of the leader and ask you to join in the unison response. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life and its infinite possibilities for love. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world. Today's story for all ages is Picture a Tree by Barbara Reed. There's more than one way to picture a tree. You may see a drawing on the sky, a game of dress-up, the first drops of color, then all the art supplies at once. A tunnel or an ocean. A tree can be a high-rise home sweet home. A pirate ship, a clubhouse, a bear cave, a friend. Some trees are sun umbrellas on a hot walk home. There are baby trees, in-betweens, grown-ups, and grandfathers. You may see the end of one thing and the start of something new. A wild goodbye party. A glow in the darkness, or skeletons. Some trees put on snowsuits. Every winter tree holds spring, sleeping like a baby. Picture a tree. What do you see? The end.
This assignment has been difficult for me. The subject of interdependent web of life is so vast that I can't begin to touch it without going into science lecturer mode. So instead, I'll tell you a little bit about how my life is interwoven with the lives of trees. 37 years ago, Anne took a huge risk and agreed to marry me and to accompany me as we moved to Monterey so that I could join my uncle, Hugh Smith, my mother's brother, as his employee in the tree service that was originally started by my grandfather, Everett Smith. Working outside seemed too good to be true. I couldn't believe that I was actually getting paid to be doing things that were athletic, creative, artistic, and helpful. Trees and forests have been a key part of my experience as a member of this congregation, and about 15 years ago, I got to participate in a day-long spiritual retreat with a group of hardy Unitarians at Garland Ranch Park in Carmel Valley. At one moment, we were invited to go our separate ways for several hours, so I found a mature, symmetrical oak tree under which I enjoyed a view of the canopy, something like this, and rested, kind of like this, and even fell asleep. When I woke, I noticed a group of large black birds with red heads clustered 75 feet away, turkey vultures, and one in the air orbiting above me, cocking its head, checking me out. I suppose checking to see if I was ready to become a nutrient contribution. Time to get up and get moving. The moral to that story is you don't want to stay in the same position for too long or you'll attract the wrong kind of attention. Speaking of nutrient contributions, I've been privileged many times now to help to bury the cremated remains of people with young trees planted as memorials. Human mineral material is excellent fertilizer, by the way, and the proof is shown in the vigor of the stand of redwood trees at the southeast part of the UUCMP campus. Among the dozen or so individuals whose ashes are interred there are my mother and my grandmother. We also planted my uncle's ashes up near the top of Jack's Peak with a pine seedling, and everybody is doing fine. I hope that when my time comes, my ashes will be made available to tree roots so that a part of me can continue among the world of the living. And I've always loved swings. In recent years, I've taken the opportunity to install probably about 33 swings so far. In a way that's non-invasive to the tree and robust to the user. I've learned that these swings have been well loved. Finally, on this 50th anniversary of Earth Day, there are things that you can do that you might even enjoy doing to promote the well-being of trees. Learn how to plant, learn how to trim, learn the immense value of deep mulch, and go for hikes in the woods.
And now please join us as we sing For the Beauty of the Earth.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies, source of all to thee we raise, it's our hymn.
This is the time we take each week to pause and think about what's been happening in our own lives and in the lives of those we care about, whether they're close by or far away. Our Caring Network this week has a joy for Chris West, who celebrates his 16th birthday this month. Let us keep in our hearts all those who are suffering from violence and its consequences, all the troubling events in the news, our hurting world that needs more love, more care, more peace. We each bring with us our own joys and sorrows, so many people and happenings which are on our minds and in our hearts. We'll now drop a few pebbles representing your individual joys and sorrows into our shared waters of love and support. If you like, you can write a joy or concern in the chat. You may also contact our co-ministers or the Caring Network. For our meditation this morning, we'll be guided by the words from Carrie Newcomer, whose poem, To Be Like a Tree, will be read by members of the UUCMP Environmental Justice Group.
To Be Like a Tree by Carrie Newcomer. See how the trees reach up and outward as if their entire existence were an elegant gesture of prayer.
See how they welcome the breath of spirit in all its visible and invisible forms.
See how the roots reach downward and out, embracing the physical, the body and bones of its soul of earth and stone, allowing half its life to be sheltered in the most quiet and secret places.
Oh, if I could be more like a tree on this Sunday morning, to feel the breath of invisible spirit touch me as tenderly as a kiss on the forehead.
If I could courageously and confidently dig down into the dark, where groundwater runs deep, where shelter and sanctuary can be had and held.
Ah, to be like a tree, with all its bent and unbent places, a whole and holy thing, from its topmost twigs to the deepest taproot, to all the good and graceful spaces between.
This is now the time for our morning offering. We encourage you to think about your financial support for our church and the resources we require to carry out its good work. We encourage you to write a check and drop it in the mail, or use the donate button on our website. You're also encouraged to contribute to our shared offering recipient, the UU Ministry for Earth. And now, please enjoy our offertory music.
Slowly, slowly, they return to the small woodland alone. Great trees now spreading and upright, apostles of the living light. Patient as stars, they build in air, tier after tier of timbered choir, stout beams upholding weightless grace of song outlet sing on its place. They stand in waiting all around, uprisings of their native ground, downcomings of the distant light. They are the advent day await, receiving sun and giving shade, their lives of their affection made, and is a benediction set over the living and the dead. In fall their bright and leaves released, fly down the wind and we are pleased to walk on radiance amazed. O light, come down to earth, be praised.
Our first reading today is by Edward Abbey. Come on in, from The Journey Home. He wrote, "The canyon country of southern Utah and northern Arizona does not always inspire love. To many it appears barren, hostile, repellent, a fearsome land of rock and heat, sand dunes and quicksand, cactus, thornbush, scorpion, rattlesnake, and agoraphobic distances. For more and more of us who live here, however, the Great Plateau and its canyon wilderness is a treasure best enjoyed through the body and spirit. For us, the wilderness and human emptiness of this land is not a source of fear, but rather is its greatest attraction. We would guard and defend and save it as a place for all who wish to recover the nearly lost pleasures of adventure. An adventure not just in a physical sense, but also mental, spiritual, moral, aesthetic, and intellectual adventure. It's a place for the free. Here you may yet find the elemental freedom to breathe deep of unpoisoned air, to experiment with solitude and stillness, to gaze through 100 miles of untrampled atmosphere, across red rock canyons, beyond blue mesas, toward the snow-covered peaks of the most distant mountains, to make the discovery of the self in its proud sufficiency, which is not isolation, but an irreplaceable part of the mystery of the whole. Come on in. The earth, like the sun, like the water, the air, it belongs to everyone and to no one.
Our second reading today is from Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Hold out your hands and let me lay upon them a sheaf of freshly picked sweetgrass, loose and flowing like newly washed hair. Golden green and glossy above, the stems are banded with purple and white where they meet the ground. Hold the bundle up to your nose. Find the fragrance of honeyed vanilla over the scent of river water and black earth, and you understand its scientific name, Hirochloi odorata, meaning the fragrant holy grass. In our language, it is called Wianjazk, the sweet-smelling hair of Mother Earth. Breathe it in, and you start to remember things you didn't know you'd forgotten. I could hand you a braid of sweetgrass, as thick and shining as the plait that hung down my grandmother's back, but it's not mine to give, nor yours to take. Wianjazk belongs to herself, so I offer in its place a braid of stories meant to heal our relationship with the world. This braid is woven from 3 strands: indigenous ways of knowing, scientific knowledge, and the story of an Anishinaabe scientist trying to bring them together in service to what matters most. It's an intertwining of science, spirit, and story, old stories and new ones that can be medicine for our broken relationship with Earth, a pharmacopoeia of healing stories that allow us to imagine a different relationship in which people and land are good medicine for each other. Come, let us worship together. This Earth Day week, I'm speaking today from a sanctuary built between the watersheds of Monterey Bay and Carmel Valley, on the unceded land of the Rumsen, Esselen, Monterey Band, Shalone, and Ohlone people who made this place their homeland for thousands of years before our arrival. I pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and future. And I remember the tragedies, displacement, migration, and settlement that contributed to us being here. Growing up in Los Angeles, the beach was my escape from the chaos and congestion of the city. No matter how overwhelming life might get, when I stood with my toes in the sand and stared out to sea, I could look in at least one direction where 10 million eyes weren't looking back, and where nature was more present than people. After college, I took my first job in a rural area north of Sacramento, a place surrounded by farms and where the Sierra were a short drive away. My second job, intentionally, brought me to the Monterey Peninsula. I quickly felt at home. I knew I'd made the right decision when, one winter day on my drive to work, a rainbow arched over Carmel Valley during my commute from the village to town. That afternoon, as I drove home, a second rainbow appeared and stayed with me all the way. I took it as a sign. In the decades since those rainbows graced my day, I've deepened my connections with the natural world and cherished my opportunities to be in nature. I've gone backpacking in the Sierra and Big Sur and hiked and walked the coastal trails of the peninsula. Before I started working from home during the pandemic, I'd regularly bike to and from work along the recreation trail. Experiences like these have become so much more important during the past year of COVID-enforced separation, not just for me, but for all of us. Uprooted from our daily routines, isolated from the human connections that sustain and enrich us, we've had to find ways to stay healthy and keep our emotional equilibrium in a time of maximum stress. Connecting with nature, as science and our own experiences tell us, is the key. Its power to heal is astonishing. And it's something you can enjoy even if you're not a backpacker or a rock climber, and regardless of your financial means, though for people of low income, nature is less accessible. For the most part, it's something that's open to all of us, whether we get out in a park or on a coastal path, spend time in our garden or with our pets, or just look out the window with a forest or sunset view. Indigenous people connected deeply with nature. It was their world and their way. Philosophers have for centuries extolled the benefits of time in nature, away from others. It's a central element of spiritual retreats and pilgrimages across time, cultures, and belief systems. Jesus spent 40 days wandering and fasting in the desert wilderness, thousands of years before Edward Abbey reminded us that the wilderness and human emptiness of this land is not a source of fear, but the greatest of its attractions. Author Richard Louv, in his groundbreaking book, The Last Child in the Woods, warned of the growing alienation of young people from the natural world, even as they were learning that our world is under growing threat from mass extinction, climate change, and environmental pollution. Where were the bonding experiences he'd enjoyed growing up? Playing in the woods with friends for hours on end, or swimming in a lake at summer camp. Louv's book has grown into a movement which recognizes that the well-being of children and the wild places we love are inextricably linked. One that understands taking time to be outdoors is essential for children's healthy development, and that long-standing systems of racism and injustice mean urban dwellers, particularly people of color, enjoy less access to green spaces, even though their communities are more likely to be impacted by industrial pollution. Time in nature is not leisure time, he writes. It's an essential investment in our children's health, and also, by the way, our own. Can we teach children to look at a flower and see all the things it represents? Beauty, the health of an ecosystem, the potential for healing. Louv's insights are backed up by a growing body of research, more than 1,000 published studies over the course of the last 20 years, documenting the personal and societal benefits of getting out in nature. In Japan, where the National Forestry Ministry encouraged people to get out for walks in the woods, scientists set out to determine if they could quantify the benefits. In one early study, Yoshifumi Miyazaki, a forest therapy expert and university researcher, found that people who spent 40 minutes walking in a cedar forest had lower levels of the stress hormone cortisol, which is involved in blood pressure and immune system function, compared with when they spent 40 minutes walking in a lab. I was surprised, he recalled. Spending time in the forest induces a state of physiologic relaxation. Another researcher found that trees and plants emit aromatic compounds that, when inhaled, can spur healthy biological changes, like an aromatherapy session. Their studies found when people walk through or stay overnight in forests, their blood chemistry often changes in ways associated with protection against cancer, immune system health, and lower blood pressure. Other, more recent studies have linked time in nature to relief of symptoms of heart disease, depression, cancer, anxiety, and attention deficit disorders. Australian scientists documented that visiting green spaces can improve heart health. They found in a 2006 study that nearly 10% of people with high blood pressure could get their hypertension under control if they spent just 30 minutes or more in a park each week. As one of them concluded, if everyone were to make time for nature, the savings on healthcare costs could be incredible. It's also a way to advance the social justice issues that are the heart of our second principle: justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Being in nature and appreciating its beauty, whether you're watching a waterfall in Yosemite Valley or listening to the crashing waves at Point Lobos can, researchers find, incline people to care more and do more for others. A UC Irvine study found that people who spent just 60 seconds looking up at towering trees in a forest were more likely to report feeling awe, after which they were more likely to help a stranger than people who looked at an equally tall building. Experiences of awe attune people to things larger than themselves, said the lead researcher, Paul Piff. They cause individuals to feel less entitled, less selfish, and to behave in more generous and helping ways. The benefits aren't just altruistic. Regularly experiencing moments of awe has been linked in research to lower levels of inflammatory compounds in the body. A heart that's open to others is a healthier heart. Still, other studies have found walking in nature benefits people who are prone to depression and anxiety. Accessible natural areas may be vital for mental health in our rapidly urbanizing world, the authors wrote. And small studies involving kids with the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder suggest that nature walks could be a potential natural treatment. Nature, said Ming Kuo, one of the authors, gives the part of the brain that's used in effortful concentration a rest. If you spend time doing something mentally relaxing, you feel rejuvenated. The threshold for benefiting from being in nature is pretty low. Danielle Shanahan from the University of Australia's University of Queensland notes that there's plenty of evidence that you'll get a range of benefits, even if all you can manage is putting a plant in your room or looking at trees through your window at home. It's even stress-reducing when you listen to the recorded sounds of rainfall, birdsong, and ocean waves. Locally, Community Hospital seems to be reading the research. Most of its rooms have windows looking out onto the surrounding forest. Others open onto a courtyard where an artificial waterfall cascades in a rock fountain. The pandemic has changed my ways of engaging with nature, and probably yours too. But I found that I've been spending more time in nature than I might have otherwise. When my gym closed, for example, my exercise routine became long bike rides that took me to the coast or inland along forested roads. During the 14 months I've spent working from home, I positioned my desk so I can see our 3 bird feeders with all their feathered comings and goings. When I need a break from desk work and the computer, I don't walk to a coffee shop. I'm outside weeding and planting and pruning in my garden. I've gotten down in the dirt with the spiders, earthworms, and pillbugs, watched an unbelievable variety of pollinators that visit the garden plants, and even been entranced by the growth and transformation of a single sunflower as it sprouted, blossomed, went to seed, and as the seeds were eaten by birds. More often than not, my lunchroom has been our back deck in the middle of the garden, a fountain burbling in the background. Stanford biologist Paul Ehrlich said it best. There's a lifetime of entertainment in your own backyard if you just take the time to look. For the past year, I've been attentively looking. The experience has reinforced for me that when we help everyone connect with the natural world, we all benefit in more ways than we can imagine. Writing in a different context, Heather McGhee talks in her book, The Sum of Us, about wealth inequality and systemic racism, and the concept of a solidarity dividend. It's something we enjoy when we work together to create systems that benefit us all, from affordable health care and higher education to accessible green spaces and public amenities like parks. This is what our UU principles call us to work toward. By assuring that the grace of nature is open to everyone, we will move closer to our goal. As Richard Louv writes, the future will belong to the nature smart, those individuals, families, businesses, and political leaders who develop a deeper understanding of the transformative power of the natural world and who balance the virtual with the real. The more high-tech we become, the more nature we need. It's our work. Let's get to it.
And now, please join us as we sing, we celebrate the web of life.
We celebrate the web of life, its magnitude we sing, for we can see divinity in every living thing. A fragment of the perfect whole in cactus and in snail, as much in tiny barnacle as in the great blue whale. Respect the water, land, and air, which gave all creatures birth. Protect the lives of all that share the glory of the earth.
Please join in the unison words as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but take its light into our lives to be the presence of love in the midst of fear, the voice of hope in the face of despair, and the hands of justice restoring a world worthy of our children. And now, please take someone's hand or imagine taking the hand of others for our benediction. May we tread softly, speak truthfully, love gently, breathe deeply, live wisely, walk our souls back home, and go in peace. Amen.
But the wood is hard and the wood is old, but we'll make it fine if the weather holds. If the weather